We've got a half day today. Market will close at 1 p.m. Eastern, but that is not going to stop us here on Pre-Market Prep. We've got a full slate of news and stocks to talk about. The bar was set low for Tesla's deliveries yesterday. Every analyst and their mother thought Tesla was going to, miss deliveries and go down. Stock ended up closing up 10% because that's what Tesla does. And continuing to move higher this morning, we will spend a couple minutes on that. Southwest fighting off Elliott management. We'll talk about what that means for shareholders. We've got some numbers coming out, and we've got our man, Marc Chaikin, joining us at 8:15. Make sure to stick around for Marc. Always great to catch up with him. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get the show on the road. Welcome to Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep.
This is a volatile puppy here.
It's all about execution styles and strategies.
Robert's not scared. He's saying he kind of wants to go short Tesla, but, we talk about why it's sometimes not the best idea to go short when a stock is, breaking out like Tesla is. We'll see what Dennis and Joel think about that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring my man Joel Elconin on and run through his charts, see what the indices are doing this morning. Joel, how you doing?
Doing okay. Got the 4th of July shirt on the 3rd of July. I had my Harley Davidson bandana on, but it was kind of warm.
So what are you gonna wear tomorrow? If you're already burning.
I got a special shirt. I wear on the 4th.
Because when I saw you this morning, Joel, I was like, Joel doesn't usually wear a t-shirt. Something must be going on. So I knew we had some surprise in store. We didn't even get that reveal on the pre-market show. Everyone got to see that one at the same time. So, Joel, how are we doing?
We're flat. We're flat at that all-time closing high made yesterday, 68.75. What a tale of two markets yesterday. They couldn't sell enough in the pre-market. They couldn't buy enough in the regular session. So we're right there. We're right at the all-time closing high. We improved on that by 10 points. We all know we're the all-time high. The double top is in the market. See if we get there today or Friday. The buck is down about a dime, 105.31. TLT steady at 90.65. Crude just under 83, up 7 cents at 82.88. Gold finally clearing 23.50, up 21.70 at 23.55. Good old volatile silver up 86 cents. That's nearly 3% at $30.52. And Bitcoin having a not such a great morning here, clinging to the $60,000 level, down $1,715 at $60,470. Let's bring on Triple D and let the rant begin.
Where do you want to start? What stock do you want to go to? What could we possibly talk about today?
I just have to say that I don't think we've ever, in all of our years, ended a show by taunting investors, by taunting shorts.
Did I taunt somebody?
Yes, you
did.
What
did I do? What did I do?
You said,
I just said bears.
Holy 219. What's up, shorts? That's what you said.
Holy 235. What's up, shorts?
How was the Twitter feed yesterday? Did you get some love?
There's love. Oh, yeah, there's some love. There's a few people that got Tesla and they love, because I ranted pretty much the day yesterday and all night. And then the haters are like, you're going to be wrong. This is still fraud. None of this. The deliveries are going down. And we have multiple analysts here today reiterating their sell calls here. JP Morgan coming out and saying the numbers just were not that good when you look year over year here. And they're reiterating that the stock's going to 130. And we got, there was 3 analysts coming up this morning. I forget the other ones. Guggenheim and Wells Fargo, both keeping their sell ratings on the stock. How many sell ratings? AB, go to your pro. How many sell ratings are on Tesla? There's quite a few.
Also, AB, you mentioned something that was brought up on the closing with Christian about the Was it the energy production? Is that the thing that you showed yesterday?
Yeah, here, I can pull that up as well. So are you talking about, Dennis, the new ratings or just in
No,
general?
like just overall, because I'm looking at how many analysts are going to be wrong. Because when you see you have this many sell ratings on something, those analysts will scramble eventually if the price keeps going up. And that can actually be a driver to continue the price higher. And I was looking and I was like, there is a lot of sell ratings on this. CNBC showed, I think it was 13. What's the Pro have? Like literally, there's analysts covering this. There's usually about 40 analysts covering it. They were very mixed. Usually when you look at a stock, like NVIDIA, there'd be no sell ratings, 28, 30 buy ratings and maybe 8 or 9 holds. Something like, or maybe even more, something like Tesla to have like 13 sell ratings, that's a very bearish analyst community.
So let's see. So going just in the last, year or so, you've got Guggenheim with a sell rating. You've got Wells Fargo with an underweight. You've got GLJ Research. That might be.
Oh, that's Gordo.
That's Gordo. I was going to say that because I was going to say that one's a price target of $22.80.
Oh yeah, Gordo don't play games. That's why we love Gordo. He gets convicted with his calls. Like 90% downside.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm counting 7 just in the last few months.
Yeah, so going to sell in the last few months. Like these people are really wrong. So we know Gordo won't capitulate. He'll be coming on. He'll lower his price target further. So we don't have to worry about him capitulating. But you do have to worry that these other analysts are like looking this morning, like they had one of them on CNBC last night. And he was like, well, the sales really aren't that good. But he really looked flustered. So, I mean, a lot of these analysts, there you go. PermaBear's got it. There's 25 buys. I think this is what I saw on CNBC too. 22 holds and 13 sells. If you bring up like widely covered, stocks, you typically don't see that many sell ratings because Wall Street doesn't like to put sell ratings on stocks. So seeing 13 sells, the analyst community is very bearish the stock. Even though there's 25 buys, there's the sells. Like I said, if you bring up NVIDIA, is anybody has a sell rating on NVIDIA? I'm not even sure there's one person. Not even one analyst that has a sell rating on NVIDIA, which seems crazy when you think about the run that it's had. Is there anybody who's got a sell rating on NVIDIA?
I don't think so.
So I'm just trying to compare because people who don't follow the analysts will probably say, well, there's still lots of bulls. There is, but there's a lot of bears out here and bears in the analyst community here. So those bears, as the stock price keeps going up, feel the heat. They feel the pressure because, they're taking heat. And sometimes they capitulate and they'll go up to neutral and say, we just got it wrong. And when they do that, that even adds fuel to the fire here. So Tesla's a very interesting story. I've been saying it's going to have its NVIDIA moment at some point in time. I've been saying that for the last month. I didn't think it was coming in the next, month, but appears right now that it is having a little bit of an NVIDIA moment because we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days goes 180. It's 235 here now. I'm not great at math here, but that looks like a 25% move in 6 days. That's NVIDIA type movement here. So is it over? Is it done? Do we ring the register and move on? Now, I was talking to you yesterday, Joel. I'm not even thinking about ringing the register on this thing. I'm actually thinking about how do I get more shares. I think Tesla's got a lot more running to do yet. I don't think this is over by any means. So I did not sell any shares. I actually bought some of my trading account last night when it was down $2 on Robinhood and rewarded instantly here because wake up this morning, the stock's 239. So I was able to make another 9 points or something.
And how long did it take you to hit the sell button on that?
No, right away on those shares. Those were the extra shares.
I know.
So again, people who are first listening, I have an investment account where I have my core Tesla position. I have a trading account. I was actually trading it from the long side too, which is counterintuitive. You think when something goes up, I want to short it. I don't think that. I think everybody's caught in this thing and there's going to be follow through. And that's exactly what's happened here this morning again. So those people who were ringing the register last night, after hours and, on Robinhood 24-hour markets are wrong here again. So I think we remember that when we were coming in and NVIDIA would be up another $5 or $10, it was $500 a share.
Up
another $10. And I'm like, why does it go up every day? Well, Tesla's just started. So I think you could start to see this movement here where Tesla pulls back a bit and, then there's just buyers and it moves up again. So I probably intend to actually not only be invested fully here, but trading this from the long side as well. I picked up another 9 points on a trade last night. Just trading.
Guess when the last downgrade of NVIDIA has been?
I just looked 2023.
My gosh, is that real?
Yeah. Let me, yeah. Here, let me
I
bring.
think, like, I think there's more upside at this point in time with Tesla than Nvidia. I will say that right now. I'm still long. I've pared my
Look at that.
Nvidia back, but Nvidia looks tired to me. It's exhausted. The move has been insane. It's up 200% in 6 months. It's exhausted.
And
Tesla, motor's just getting started here, folks.
And I was gonna,
my opinion.
I was gonna say they still got some pretty high price targets here. 850,
On
1,000.
Nvidia?
No, I'm joking. They haven't adjusted yet for the
Oh,
split.
they haven't
Yeah.
adjusted.
But let's do a toast to Constellation Brands here. Get our earnings stock in here before we talk to Mr. Chaikin.
All right, let's do it. So Constellation Brands reported earnings. And let me get the numbers up, but I saw that the stock is trading higher, so I assume the numbers were pretty good. People have been drinking their beer. Let's see. We had EPS come in at $3.57, beat by 12 cents. Revenue of $2.66 billion, missed by $10 million. They gave their adjusted EPS guidance of $13.50 to $13.80. The estimate was $13.67. So pretty in line there with estimates, but reaffirms outlook. So the numbers were good. Not great, but good enough to get a little boost this morning, trading up about $10, 3.8%.
Nice move here. Again, this is a beverage, obviously company here, alcoholic beverages, and doesn't typically move around a lot. So you get a 10-point move. I'm not chasing it by any means. I mean, if you look back, the beta's lower on this company because it's more stable. Like earnings on this are just, people are buying their alcohol. They buy their alcohol in a recession. They probably buy more in a recession, to be honest, because they're depressed. So it's just stable. I mean, this has been, one of those core, companies that you invest in. Cash flows, are relatively stable.
Blew through the pair highs at 265.5. We talked about that yesterday, and then it hit one high at 270.18, and that was your April 12th high. So it did kiss that in the pre-market, going to 270, 25,000. I'd have to look at that as a potential, like I said. If in fact you do clear this 270, you are bid up here. You work your way into a bar where the next daily high was 274.67. But I have to say, what about some of these other beverages stocks? I mean,
wait, Joel, did you do that on purpose? Work your way into a bar?
No, I did not.
That was good. That was good.
This bar, not a bar.
Okay.
Not a bar. But look at your Budweiser. We've had their problems. Look at that. What a decline it's been in that. And then Tap. Have you seen Tap?
Have you seen Sam? Sam's chart looks the ugliest at all.
I don't like any of those pure. Again, Constellation Brands is a little bit of a different animal because they're mostly booze. This isn't a beer company. This is a booze company. If you look at, their brands, and let's just do that exercise, go Constellation Brands. We can go, eventually we can just ask AI, but what are their actual brands? Like Constellation Brands. Like they have some beer, but it's a lot of booze. So, there's wine, they do a little bit of everything, but there's a lot of booze in here. And I don't know, I'm not getting it very quickly here. Obviously, Corona's the big beer, but
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is mostly Corona and Modelo when it comes to their sales and whatnot. Yeah,
there's a lot of booze in there.
Here, I'll pull it up. So here are the different brands. So if you can go to wine here. You got Kim Crawford. I used to sell that when I was waiting tables. Oh, Simi, that's another one. And then you go to spirits. Let's see, Svedka, which is like a cheaper vodka. See, like these spirit brands, I don't think are really that big. Casa Noble Tequila, I've never.
Do you think it's? I don't know. I didn't break it down. It's not mostly beer, so
I think it's mostly Corona and Modelo because when all the Bud Light stuff started going on, Corona or Modelo, one of the two became the best-selling beer in the country. I mean, so you look at their beer brands between Modelo, Corona. Oh, they got 2 pages of beer brands. I think it is mostly most of the revenue, I would venture to say, comes from Modelo.
I'll say this then. I'll be wrong on that. It's mostly booze, but it's higher end beers. Can we say that comfortably? This is higher end stuff because Corona, Fancy, Modelo, these are higher end beers. This isn't This isn't Molson. This isn't, Miller Lite. These are higher end beers. Can we safely say that?
Yeah, and I would also say that it's more like condensed. Like you have these two major beer brands, Corona and Modelo, which are both widely popular. And then you look at like the brands that Bud Light or that Budweiser owns, and they own like 50 different types of beer brands and seltzers, and like some of them I don't think are that popular. So you do have and Pacifico is huge too. So yeah, you have here like to your point, like these higher end beers, and then they only have a few wildly popular ones, which I think, bodes well for their business.
So I've argued for a while that craft breweries, the movement in craft breweries is hitting Molson, Coors, and hitting Bud. And I think that is the case. I wonder if Constellation Brands isn't a little more insulated against that. And the reason Constellation Brands has not been selling off like a Tap or a Bud is because they do sell these higher end beers, where it's the craft brewery maybe isn't a direct attack on Corona. It's more of an attack on, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong here, but you can clearly see a difference to your guys' points between Bud, Tap, and STZ. So for some reason, Constellation Brands is holding up better. And I just wonder if, the craft breweries, we've had so many craft breweries popping up, and they're so, they're awesome. I love the craft breweries. I just wonder if some of that isn't, the reason that we're seeing this underperformance in Bud and Tap and not as much underperformance in Constellation Brands. Maybe I'm reaching there, but you can clearly see a difference in the chart here right now. So I'm trying to justify why.
All right, just real quick. Remember, this is a quick story. We'll bring Marc on. Remember BFA and Brown-Forman?
Yep.
They have some good brands. Woodford.
And they're going down too.
Jack Daniels tequila. I never had that one. But you remember Ernie was trading the BFA versus the B? Do you remember? You probably don't remember.
I always trade the BFA versus the B too.
And they did something. They did something like they changed like the something. This is when it was a much higher price stock. And the spread just completely fell apart. It had a range, and he was stuck on it. And he was a pretty concerned. I can't remember how he worked his way out of it, but
I traded the BF.A. I used to do share class arbitrage back in 2002, 2003, almost exclusively. Like I said, I traded the Viacom A versus the Viacom B, and in 2002, I think it was, on the VIA, a lot of days I was 10% of the volume. So literally, like if you were buying VIA in 2002, there was a 1 in 10 chance that you bought or sold it from me, just me. So I mean, the share class arbitrage was awesome back in the day. High frequency trading emerged later in 2006, 2007, 2008, and kind of took us all out of that. Like it was so consistent, like consistent to the point where you just didn't even have down days. I mean, it was because you're literally just arbing the two against each other. But BF.A, BF.B, we had a list of them, Joel. There was like 12 or 15 of them that we were trading, and Ernie was trading them too. And they just get out. I mean, all of a sudden the market would move, VIAB would drop. Well, there was a lag, and back in 2002, before full automation was there, we were quick, man. We're like bang, bang. It was just a different market then. So share class arbitrage went away really when high frequency trading took over.
We gotta bring Marc on. It's a little early to be talking booze, but it is a holiday week, so let's get off the topic and bring Marc on instead, and maybe we'll talk some other stocks with Marc Chaikin. All right, Marc Chaikin of Chaikin Analytics. Marc, how are you doing this morning?
Very well. I have not had my first shot of tequila, however. So.
Yeah, well,
by the way, Brown-Forman is trading at 23 times forward earnings, and analysts are lowering their estimates. It's really not cheap.
Is this the problem? Is it craft breweries and just competition that are coming for all these, like with Tap, Bud? Because we've been seeing these stocks go down for years. Constellation Brands held up, but Brown-Forman, Tap,
could
Bud.
Be the cost of grain. Could be, the same thing that's hurting the food stocks. I don't know, but it's not a place I want to spend my money as a stock buyer.
Well,
where do you want to
to
spend your money as a stock buyer?
I do. I want to look at some of the tech stocks that have had a nice correction,
Okay.
where the fundamentals are strong. I want to look at some of the alternative plays that really took a hit, like the air conditioning plays in terms of companies that support data center and AI center build outs. And I want to look at, some of the alternative energy stocks. So these stocks have all taken a haircut. And I think there's a buying opportunity in here. And so in tech, it's Qualcomm for me, not NVIDIA. As you know, I've favored that. It's taken a nice hit. It's Tower Semiconductor if you're looking for a mid-cap name. And by the way, I think mid-caps, we just launched a new mid-cap newsletter. It's called Marc Chaikin's Power Profits. And the whole thesis is that we're going to have a broadening out in participation as this bull market keeps going. And I think you got to move your focus away from the mega cap and the big cap names. So that's sort of the underlying thesis. And you do have what I consider the big five, which is Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, NVIDIA, all with bullish power gauge ratings. So that sector, that market cap slice is really strong, but I think you got to start looking for mid caps.
So TSEM is one of yours, and it's actually setting up not bad. And then you were also looking at Qualcomm, which I own in my long-term portfolio here. Qualcomm's had a pretty good pullback here, just quiet. Nobody talks about this when you're right, Mark. 230 to 200, quiet little 15% sell-off here. And rounding a little bit here, maybe getting ready for its next leg higher. I'm just concerned, and I just want to talk overall the AI trade with you, though. I'm just concerned it's tired. I'm just concerned it's exhausted a bit. Like, not saying the AI trade is over by any means. I think we're still in the early innings, and I think if you own these stocks with a 5-year time horizon, you're going to be happy. Yep. But it's just like, NVIDIA up 200% this year. I mean, doesn't it feel kind of tired to you?
It does, and the fact that the major houses like Morgan Stanley are reiterating their buys and raising their targets is a red flag. But we have shifted our focus to the companies that are going to start using AI to increase their profit margins. That's my real big theme for the next 5 years. So just like when we talked about this, the Netscape browser in 1995 democratized the internet. Profit margins went up for 5 years. Inflation came down. Rates came down. And I think that's what we're looking at. Profit margins up for the next 5 years. PEs go up, rates come down, inflation stays pretty static. So you've got to start looking for companies that are early adopters of AI in their businesses. And mid-cap companies have an easier time doing that because they don't have the sort of bureaucracy that says, oh, we got legacy stuff, we can't do that. They're more nimble. So, you've just got to pick and choose. Eaton Corp is one that I had identified. One of my, Pete Carmesino identified it early on, ETN.
Yeah.
So you got to be looking for pullbacks in stocks like this, where companies are actually using AI to improve their supply chain, to improve their customer interaction. So Zebra is one that I think I mentioned, I wasn't on but a month ago because of a snafu on my calendar. But Zebra is using Qualcomm chips in their handheld scanners in supermarkets and warehouses. And they've already improved their business because of AI. They're not manufacturing anything or chips. So those are the kinds of stocks I'm really looking for.
Staying away from maybe the leaders right now, like looking.
Yeah, the leaders are tired, and I think the leadership is going to shift. And the old saw is that last bull market's leaders almost never lead in the next bull market.
True.
And by the way, Aaron raised a good point. Literally to the day that Modelo passed Budweiser as the leading beer, the stock peaked. So it's like put me on the cover of Time magazine or Forbes and sell the stock.
Hey, well, sometimes a blind squirrel gets a nut every now and then. So I'm glad I made one good point. Although actually, I will say, Mark, yesterday I made a good call talking about Tesla's energy storage. part of the business before a lot of other people were. Then that was all over Twitter yesterday too. So, Marc, so outside of, I guess, those stocks you mentioned, what other industries do you think have the most capability to be disrupted and like increase earnings through AI over the next few years?
Well, I go to the air conditioning and the cooling companies like Fix, which has been a big favorite of mine. And I think that's setting up in a way that the chart doesn't look good right now. The power gauge is neutral plus, but I think if that bottom holds, I don't think you'll go down to fill that gap.
And they're doing cooling for like data centers, right?
AI, yeah, AI data center build outs.
What about VRT? Have you been watching VRT at
VRT, the chart pattern's a little bit weaker, but yes, and you're right in that support area where it broke out in May. So, yeah, I love VRT. Again, these were really overdone, more so I think than the Nvidias of the world, and the pullbacks have been bigger.
Well, VRT in the last years went from $26 to $109. You're talking about a stock that's up 300 to 400% here over the course of the last year. So, I mean, there may be more upside here, but there's a lot of good news priced in there.
Yep, absolutely. But I think these are the longer term plays, as you say. I'm not a 5-year kind of guy, but if you have a 3 to 5 year outlook, these are the stocks that are going to continue to shine because we need data. And then take a look at PRIM, Primoris. We got stopped out of an options trade with a nice profit in that one. Very similar alternative power for these plants for AI data
Marc,
center.
I want to hop in here because these are these are some interesting charts, and we look for turns, right? And so, like looking at the Qualcomm here, I know you do your strict, fundamental analysis. You like to throw in your technical analysis. I mean, are you looking at something like this as like, first shorter term trade, or if you're looking to get back into it, is this something? I mean, is this enough of a formation here for you? You made that low at 193.84. You've separated yourself away from it. Let's say you're picking it up at $200 with the expectation for it to get back half of this move. What do you qualify? It would be a technical setup on this.
These are 3 to 6 month minimum positions for me, and it's based on my market thesis. I'm still wildly bullish. We're in the strongest 2-week period of the year, as you probably have talked about, in the first 2 weeks of July. And I think we're going to hit the bottom of my short-term target before earnings season gets going, which is 5,600. And by the end of the year, I expect we'll be around 6,000. So I want to position my call it swing trading to investment accounts in the stocks that I think will lead the market to new highs. And we're talking about a couple of them here.
Marc, there are some signs right now in terms of economic data that we're seeing a slight slowdown in the economy. Does that concern you at all? Does that, make you more bullish because that means the Fed's going to cut? How do you look at just from like the macro standpoint right now?
You nailed it on the head, and Powell talked about it in Sintra in Portugal yesterday, and then one of the other Fed governors. If the economy softens, you've got Aaron Goolsbee out in Chicago, and now you've got Powell basically saying, hey, if things soften, we don't want to steer the economy into a recession. So yes, I was looking for a rate cut in December after the election, but I think it's possible you get one in September if the data continues to soften. So that, you never like to see an economy that's flagging, but if it means the Fed's going to cut rates, what does that impact? Home building, probably the biggest industry in America that affects jobs. So home building, all the construction suppliers like Boise Cascade and Build and Builder. So lower interest rates is just a good thing.
What would be your number one metrics or data to watch to determine if the economy truly is slowing down?
Well, you've got the key one right there, which is the the Atlanta Fed's GDP Now model is now down to 1.2%. It was 3.4% just 6 weeks ago. So, and that's what the Fed's want.
Got 8:30 numbers here, folks. I just wanted to give Dennis a heads up. They're not big numbers, but you have the balance of trade and initial jobless claims at 8:30. Mark, sorry to interrupt you, but
that's all right.
we just wanted Dennis has his markets out there. We didn't want to see him
get
picked off.
Well, here, Mark, I got the numbers you were just mentioning here. I'll pull up the chart. So this is the Atlanta Fed GDP Now measure, and it's down from 2.2% to 1.7%. So you are seeing that kind of retract a little bit, and then you also have here. This is actually coming from Cameron Dawson and another friend of the show from New Edge. Bloomberg consensus U.S. real GDP growth. The first dip here to 2.3% from around 2.4%. The first dip we've gotten in this measure since, May, September 2023. So there are some signs out there that we could be, I'm not trying to say like, oh my God, the recession's here, the recession's coming, but there are some signs that there's a slight slowdown here.
Absolutely. And what I like about the Atlanta Fed number is it's updated almost daily and it's free. So you don't have to subscribe to Bloomberg, and you just go on their website and you'll see the number, and it's pretty accurate. So guys, my wife is in need of assistance, and I'm going to wish you a happy 4th. And I think we get one more show in. We're going to France on the 16th. So use your calendar. Let's get one show in before then if we're not on the books.
Okay, I will do
Thanks,
that.
Mark.
All right,
Thanks, Mark.
do well.
Always a
Happy
pleasure.
4th.
Go help out Sandy.
Marc Chaikin Analytics. Always great to catch up with our man Mark there. Always some great insights, not only about tech stocks, but the overall economy, some macro as well. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at these numbers that we got. I'm going to pop your screen back up, Joel, here.
Okay. Well, yeah. I just want to, and before you give those, and we should have got this at the top of the show. The market, you look at it, and there's a lot of stocks that are green, but
a lot of green today.
A lot of green, but the big dogs. Microsoft down $1.18, Apple down 72 cents, Nvidia down $1. Nvidia looking tired here, so it's keep an eye on this market.
Netflix down too, and this is what I was noticing too. I'm like looking at the SPY down, and I'm like, what's down? And I'm like, we're like 80% stocks green, and I'm like, oh, it's the big three. And the big three make up 22% of the index, and they're all in the red. So they're leading the charts. That's why we made the show actually title Leaders, Laggards. Leaders lagging, laggards leading. That's a mouthful, but that is what we have here today with Apple, Microsoft, and Nvidia, which have obviously been your leaders, not doing that well this morning. And then obviously a lot of other stocks. Banks are up, retail's up, drug stocks are up, airlines are trading higher here. Tesla obviously up as well. Lots of stocks in the green here this morning, but not the majors, and that's why the S&Ps have rolled over, and the QQQ obviously rolling over too. So it just shows you how dependent SPY is on the big three.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty flat, though, still. Like, the S&P's down, what, 0.1%, right? I mean,
yeah, but when you see AB, and, I work in fractions of a percent. So, obviously day traders, we work, you're down, when you see as many stocks green on my screen, I don't know if you can show them, Joel, but there is just like, if I was, a lot of days I come in, I see red across my screen because I have 200 S&P stocks up there. I bet you 150 of them are green. So it's like, there's pockets of red. Costco's down. There's a few pockets of red. But I mean, every drug stock is up. Merck, Pfizer, Lilly, Bristol Myers, Gilead, all up. All the airlines are trading higher here. I don't know why, but they're all in the green. You got RCL, MGM. MGM had a buy rating. Win, all trading green. All the banks are green. All the consumer staples are green.
I'll just.
It's so green.
Yeah, right here.
I mean, it's just those major companies. Like, it's very, very much a green day. Like, I might even say 80% of stocks are green right now. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I'm just like eyeballing it. It is green today. And the S&P is red. That's like, what's up? And it just, again, shows you Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft S&P cares the most about those because they're so heavily weighted in that index.
Look at that volume here in the pre-market in NVIDIA. 5 million shares. Tesla's traded 8 million. So
Tesla's coming down a little bit here, huh? It was up.
Yeah, it's leaking here too with the
yeah.
recent S&P. It's definitely leaking here.
All right. Oh, sorry. On the numbers, just real quick, I was going to give those. We did have. Wait, no, I lost them. I had them up a second ago. Oh, here we go. Initial jobless claims came in at 238,000 versus 234,000. So slight beat there on the jobless claims. Maybe a potential another sign that the economy is starting to falter just a tiny bit. You know, I did actually. I'm glad that Marc brought it up because I wanted to bring up those numbers that Cameron Dawson shared as well, because again, it's the first dip in that GDP growth forecast that we've seen in over a year. So it's pretty, it'll be interesting, I guess, to see if that ends up being telling, or if it's as simple as, oh, the market or the economy's starting to slow down a little bit. Now we cut 0.25% and we're back off to the races. I don't know if it's going to be that simple. We will see. All right. Other headlines we need to get to. Let's talk. Yeah, let's talk some Paramount. We had Paramount news. This has been the stock that's been, you know, is there going to be a deal? Is there not going to be a deal?
Deal or no deal?
Deal or no deal?
Is there a show about that?
Who was that?
Let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal.
Monty Hall. Or are you thinking of something different?
Deal or no deal?
Is there a deal?
Yeah,
there's a deal or no deal show.
Yeah.
Right now?
Well, they're for like 20
years. The
years.
last 20 years, deal or no deal. What the hell? And so the briefcases.
Yeah. And
you take the briefcase and you want the briefcase or not.
Yeah.
With their good Canadian buddy there.
Howie Mandel.
And
they would call into a booth and the guy would offer a deal and then the contestant would have to either take it or no. But here's the thing is now people's like attention spans are so bad that that's not good enough. That show where they have the briefcases. So they rebooted it and now they're like on an island and doing activities and they're still deal or no deal, but it's a different, it's a different show now.
Yeah. Fun show.
All right. Back to Paramount though. Paramount is looking for, actually, I don't even have the headline in front of me. Dennis, you want to give it?
I don't have it in front of me either, but I can go grab it.
I got it. Shares are trading higher after Skydance reportedly reached a preliminary agreement to acquire National Amusements and plans to merge Skydance with Paramount Global. So I thought the whole deal with Skydance fell through, but now CNBC reporting Skydance acquires around 50% of Paramount's controlling shares for $15 a share. And you had Paramount close at $10.72 yesterday. So $15 a share for half the shares. That's a pretty big premium to pay there.
So is this an official deal or this is still just rumored here right now?
This is all it goes back and forth.
I know. We've been talking about the Paramount deal, not the Paramount deal. Now there's talks that they're going to sell, and is this official? So CNBC is reporting that Skydance is actually going to acquire 50% of Paramount's controlling interest for $50. So they're going to buy a piece of the company. It sounds like. They're going to buy a piece of the company. Anyway, stock's trading up $1.37. It seems like every time the stock pops, it's just another selling opportunity, though. The company itself has been one of the worst long-term investments you could possibly have since, the ridiculousness of the $10 to $100 move in the COVID 2020 when everything was going nuts. And who was the money manager that was in that Paramount?
Wasn't it Wang?
Was it Wang?
Yeah.
I don't remember but who he managed money for, but he was buying this thing, and then he got caught, and then it just collapsed. And what a horror story for longs here over the course of the last, 3 to 4 years, though, from 100 back to 10. So 12, 13, I don't know what to say about it. It's been a value trap. Could it go to the $15 price? Maybe, but I think it's only buying a piece of it. I'm a seller of all rallies in this. I like what Loop is saying. Loop comes out with after all this news this morning, reiterates their sell rating, estimates a pair of shares are worth about $10.50. So they don't like it either. I don't like Paramount either.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a stock now that is, unless there's a deal. I mean, anytime you have a stock where the only way it's going to go up is off an acquisition, then it's to me not a great stock or one that I'd want to be in, because you basically have that one shot for the catalyst, that one opportunity, and then if you don't get that, then you're kind of screwed. And a lot of times those stocks, there's a reason people are looking at acquiring them is because they're beaten down and the valuation has gotten better. Then there's a reason that those stocks have gotten
diamond in the
down.
rough.
Yeah, exactly. So, if you're a Paramount shareholder here and you're getting a pop this morning on this news, could be a good time to take some profits unless you're, very convicted that this deal is going to go all the way through and the stock will end up going all the way up to $15.
Yeah, if you're trading it technically, I mean, 1240 was your high, and it had a really bad day that day. You just got to 1248 in the pre-market. So if you're looking for any kind of follow through or a potential sell point there, I like that 1240 area, but it just seemed like it's deal or don't. Remember the term? Did you ever use the term like "what's your deal"? Like is that an old term? Like someone saying
I
something.
heard it back in the 80s.
Yeah, like disagreeing.
What's
with
your
you.
deal?
Like, what's your deal, man? What's your deal?
You're going back a long ways.
We're leaking, Dennis.
There's no deal. We are breaking down in the S&P, but I tell you, look at the IWM. Up 0.35%. Take off the SPY blinders, and we're not breaking down at all. Lots of stocks in green. But Apple, Google has joined the party. Amazon has joined the party. Netflix has joined the party. We got to make a cap tech sell-off.
Oh, my gosh.
So if you want to know why we're down here right now, it's nothing to do with the broad market. It's all to do with mega cap tech. Even Tesla is giving back $7 from its pre-market high here. The top is in Tesla. It's over. Sell. No, just kidding.
Get in
no,
there
I'm
and
not.
sell, Mortimer. We've seen the all-time high. Well, now that close from yesterday is looking a little tastier here. If we can get back up to that 68.75, and interestingly, the low that we've all a little over a 10-point range. That low right there at 59.75. That's a super soft number, but if you guys have been listening to the show, you know that was the former all-time closing high. So there we are, folks. Very minor support, though. After that, things get slippery and so way on the downside, down to under 55.50. But hey, still early in the set. We don't open for another 50 minutes.
And we will only be open for, I can't do that math that quickly, but a certain amount of minutes today because the market will close at 1 p.m. So again, if you're trading any 0-day options or anything,
those 0-day options must be
cheap,
just explosive.
Yeah.
But if you want to chat later in the day, Dennis and I are gonna be doing a closing print at 12:15. And Dennis, I want to hear here. I put the link in here for that. Dennis, I want to hear a good 4th of July story out of you.
He's not American.
Yeah.
Well, I still want to hear
a 4th of July story. I'm Canadian. Yeah. I got stories from like Canada Day though, like 2 days ago.
Canada Day, and I got one. You guys, you're gonna be a little.
You want to hear the 4th of July story? I tweeted it last night, but so I can tell you a quick story.
Then you got to come up with another one.
Well, I'll give you one right now. So the boy's 9 years old now, starting to hit early puberty or whatever it is. Anyways, so goes up with my wife, buys deodorant and Axe body spray for the first time ever. So anyways, he's all pumped up to get that. Anyways, I'm like down in my office and upstairs. I'm like, what is that smell? And then he comes in the office and I'm like, holy mackerel, buddy. You got to like spray a little bit of that stuff. It's not sunscreen. You don't spray it all over your body. The entire house smells like Axe. I got to open the windows, open his windows. I think he used half the bottle on himself because he loves spray cans. So he just sprayed himself down with Axe body spray. And I'm like, wow, there's my 4th of July story on the July the 2nd. That would have been last night. But I got a headache from this Axe body spray. A little bit of it smells pretty good. But when you douse yourself with half a bottle, that's a little bit much to take.
What brand?
Axe.
That's when I was in middle school.
Jordan,
that's how
no Axe.
The whole
AXE, Axe body spray.
The whole
smells pretty good, but not when you use that much of it. So then my wife said, "Go take a shower," and she put him in the shower trying to get that Axe body spray off. Doused himself, man. It was strong smelling.
I hope he's not listening to the show today.
When I was in middle school,
probably putting on more Axe body spray.
The whole locker room and gym would always smell like that because everyone brought the can to school. But when I was around that age, maybe a couple years older, started, having the Axe body spray and then a lighter, and you could make like a little flamethrower. So we'll just watch out for that, Dennis. Make sure he's not playing with.
Don't light, yeah. Don't start
yeah.
the stove, or don't start the
don't
start the
start doing that.
barbecue.
Why don't I want to start doing them? I think we should start doing the market closed at 1 p.m. every day. Well, I mean, that's enough hours for people to get their trades. And why do you don't need 7.5 hours?
You know what the trouble is for me is I trade after hours, so I'll be trading till 5 anyway. So this guy get done early.
Will they keep it open? Will they keep it open?
Yeah, 1 to 5. After hour session is 1 to 5, and then you probably get the after hour session. I don't know if IB actually is doing the.
What about the FOC minutes at 2 o'clock today?
I know. So that's why you gotta be here. It's because you got the minutes coming out at 2 and the market's going to be closed. So after hours, we'll have some parties happening. We'll have some movement, less liquidity. It'll be fun.
That's interesting. S&Ps will be open. Interesting. May have to work a little overtime myself here.
There you go.
We got some stonks to cover here still. Let's
go. We haven't talked Southwest yet?
Nope.
Southwest. So Elliott Management came in and bought, I want to say, a 12% stake in Southwest, and now Southwest is fighting Elliott Management through a poison pill, which is essentially where they are offering more shares to their shareholders at a discount in order to essentially dilute Elliott Management's position so that they don't have that much of a controlling stake. I mean, you guys probably have you guys have definitely seen this more than I have or something, but like, how does this usually play out? And like, can you explain, I guess, what necessarily a poison pill is and like what it does?
Yeah. So you're taking something on to try to deter activists from basically firing you. So you get in there, you don't want them to take over because they're going to come in, and management does this really usually to deter, activist action here. So we see Elliott get involved lots of times with lots of companies. They don't take on poison pills, but this just shows you how inept, and how, maybe, corrupt even to a certain extent, that they all want to keep their jobs. So they're going to do everything that they can to get Elliott out of there or to, fight Elliott here. The management's very concerned about their jobs. It's not good for shareholders. You want the activists. And LUV's been a dumpster fire. The best thing for them is Elliott. So now you get all of a sudden, a poison pill. They're trying to like deter Elliott away. And, I don't know if it will work. But with that being said, I mean, if I was a shareholder, I don't want a poison pill. I want to see Elliott get in there and clean house, because Southwest went from 10 years ago and being best of breed to all of a sudden like worst of breed. Management's turned this into a dumpster fire. So I love that Elliott's in there if I was a shareholder, and I'd let them do whatever the hell they want as a shareholder. Management says, we got to keep our jobs. We better do something about it. So anyways, that's what my thoughts here, LUV.
It's interesting. I mean, I know. So there was kind of this big debate when Twitter was public and Elon Musk was taking it over, because people were like, well, they have to take the deal because it's way above the price, and like they have a duty to shareholders, and that's what would be best for shareholders, is to get bought out here and get paid out at this price. But in past times, you have had companies, I believe it was Netflix. I think Carl Icahn was trying to take Netflix over, and Netflix kind of did the same thing where they started issuing more shares. And because Netflix had the conviction to say like, no, we're worth way more than, $10 billion, or whatever they were trying to buy it for. And that actually ended up working out for shareholders in the long term, which it's not really the same thing as what's going on with Elliott and Southwest here. But I thought that was an interesting example of this kind of poison pill strategy actually working out for shareholders in Netflix, because they were able to stave off that acquisition and then ended up growing the company into something way more valuable than it would have been had it got bought out at that time. I want to say that was in like maybe around like 2010. I don't know. Someone from the chat can correct me if I'm wrong. But either way, I mean, to your point, Dennis, I mean, Southwest has certainly had some issues, some self-inflicted, some out of their control, maybe because they've kind of had an all Boeing fleet, which has hurt them. They were all domestic, which helped them during COVID. But now, you're seeing some international travel rising, and they're not getting any of that love. You had, of course, last Christmas, that whole, deal where all their flights got canceled, which is going to hurt their brand. I don't know. I mean, I still fly Southwest sometimes. I like it, but it's not. I've grown to like Delta more than Southwest. Just my own.
I like Delta too.
Yeah, as my own personal. I have a Delta card and a Southwest card, so I get points on both airlines. Because Southwest is a big hub in St. Louis, Delta is a big hub up here in Detroit. So whenever I'm flying from St. Louis, I do Southwest most of the time.
I like flying that Porter in out of Toronto too, a smaller airline there. But you know what? They give you a free drink, like alcoholic beverage, Joel. You know, you want a free beer? Yeah, I want a free beer. Excellent. That makes me happy.
We don't do that here on. Well, is it a Constellation beer? Is it a Modelo or a Corona?
You get Corona. Yeah,
right,
they did have Corona on there.
Dennis drinks Miller Lite, Dennis.
I do. I would take the Miller Lite over the Corona any day of the week.
I
That's
still
just
got
a
those Miller
fantastic
Lights
beer. Less filling, tastes great.
Yes. Love is stuck here. You had the Elliott bump, and then you had the pullback. You had one real bad day. I'm not sure what it was when he went to 27, 23. But buyers congregating at 28. I would say, Elliott, no Elliott, poison pill, non-poison pill. I don't think I could get excited about this stock from the long side until it clears 29 and establishes a bid over 29. Until that, it's just kind of blah. American Airlines being left for dead down here. I know you have it, Dennis. Dennis, just get rid of that.
Yeah, it's dog. I should have stumped that, buy more Tesla with it.
Delta's pulled back a little bit. UAL, so these are showing a little bit.
Airlines
of
look like trash.
How much money does Elliott have? I mean, because
in love.
I feel like if I was a let's see, Elliott Management AUM, $71 billion. I feel like if I was an activist investor and I made this position and they started trying to poison pill me, you get into kind of this like ego battle where it'd be like, all right, well, I'm just going to buy more then. I'm going to buy more. It's like, I've got enough money. I mean, they've got $71 billion assets under management. Probably a lot of it is not liquid, but then, Southwest's whole market cap is only 17 billion. So Elliott Management, I mean, I feel like has the money here to really fight the poison pill as Southwest tries to fight Elliott Management. If they care that much.
Embrace it, love. Elliott's going to do good things for you.
Yeah.
Embrace it. Maybe not for the management, though.
Look what he did for Disney. I mean, was it at Elliott and Disney?
No, I think it was Peltz.
Okay.
Peltz. I've been not wanting to bring this story up.
What about the Disney? Before you go on the next story here, what about the Disney? Because it is breaking down, Joel. I mean, we saw this record. I went and saw the movie Inside Out 2. It was pretty good. Saw it in 3D. The kids kind of enjoyed it. It was pretty good. It's breaking down, man. That was one of the best movies I had in a long time. They don't care right now. Something's happening with Disney. Disney is getting hammered here. And we know we've talked about this being levels here, and I've talked about the 89 to 90 level. I think you might get another shot at 90 again on Disney, and this is be the third time. It's like almost like the Oxy level with Warren Buffett at 58 to 59. The Disney 90 is huge. We've come a long ways there. You gonna take a shot at 90? I think I will.
And I think that went down on some good news. They opened up a new amusement or new ride or something, and there was like sold out like immediately. And I think this happened earlier in the week. It might have been like right here. And what day was this? This was the 28th. And they absolutely hammered the stock on it. Yeah, I'm trying to see what it was. Over some new exhibit, but man, oh man, just can't find a bid here. Filled the gap from February. Out of favor. No AI. What else can you say?
Dennis, do you have to see Inside Out 1 to see Inside Out 2? Did you watch Inside Out 1?
No, not at all. You don't have to see it at all. And again, it's a little bit of a steal. Like they say, oh, what a great concept, that these people are running. You have this different, emotions running you, and they act them as people. But this was done, folks. Disney stole this from Herman's Head. Herman's Head, fantastic, late 1980s sitcom, completely stolen. The four emotions were in there. I mean, I'm going to say it right here because nobody remembers back to the 1980s, but this is a complete ripoff of Herman's Head, a complete ripoff. But the movie is pretty good. People won't remember Herman's Head, so Disney can rip that off. But that's a ripoff of Herman's Head.
That's kind of been Disney's MO recently, is just doing stories they
Ripping
know
stuff
people
off.
like. Yeah, like, oh, let's do these superhero movies from comic book characters that have been around for 50. When's the last original Disney movie where it's like they came up with, I don't know.
It's why the stock's been a dumpster fire for a decade. So go back and look at that bottom right chart. We are 10 years of going nowhere on Disney. 10 years. Innovation, nothing. Obviously they bought Star Wars. They messed it up everywhere. I do like that last episode of Acolyte was pretty good. But I mean, overall, it's been just not good. The Han Solo movie, the 3 new Star Wars movies were all terrible. The concept, they come up with a bigger Death Star. I mean, they can't even think of anything original. They had to actually, like, what are we going to do? What's going to be the big bad thing? We'll make the Death Star bigger. Oh, that's good. That's a great idea, Disney. Those movies were, and then Luke Skywalker projecting himself across the universe. It was all just absolutely terrible. The new 3 movies. So George Lucas must just shake his head at Disney. I don't know, Disney. They got to figure some stuff out. I have no position in it. I probably will buy it at 90 because it's bounced there before. But I tell you, they're doing everything wrong.
How about this? How about a kid that gets superpowers from spraying himself with too much Axe?
There you go. Look at it. We come up with the ideas for Disney.
There you go.
Axeman.
Axeman. Yeah, there you go.
Flying through the schoolyard
with an axe. Yeah. All right. So this story, I was kind of not trying to avoid, but it wasn't the one I wanted to go to first. And there's a specific reason. That's Eli Lilly. So you had this Alzheimer's drug. The reason I didn't want to bring it up, I got to be honest with you guys, I have no clue how to say the name of this drug. It's like Dronamabom, something like that. Either way, their Alzheimer's drug, which had gotten some previous, good data from clinical trials and stuff, got FDA approval. Donanemab. I think that's actually right.
Donanemab. You said it right. I like that.
Donanemab.
I'll give you that. It's a pass.
So Donanemab got FDA approval yesterday. You saw the stock. The stock moved higher, but then ended up closing down about $7.50. I think this was kind of like one of those things that was already priced in. But either way, I mean, this is huge news because it's a huge market. And there's no other drugs. I mean, what's that other stock? BIIB? What happened to their?
Yeah, boy, oh boy.
Biogen's been a disaster. I actually sold out of my Biogen. I'm done with my Biogen officially. I had in the long-term portfolio for like 17 years. And yeah, I finally did ring the register on Biogen. All out. I mean, Lilly was down yesterday on the potential drug pricing stuff that we had talked about on pre-market prep, and then it bounced with this Alzheimer's drug news. It did bounce, is right back up. I mean, you want to talk about how bad the management has been at Disney. How good has the management been at Lilly? It's the anti-Disney. I mean, the management's just been unbelievable. They've turned Lilly around, like to unbelievable. They're the leader in everything. I mean, it's unbelievable, really, when you think about where they were to where they are now. Leading weight loss. Now they're getting Alzheimer's. They're getting everything. Lilly management, unbelievable.
Huh. Working on a red candle, though, so far this month. We're only 3 days in.
I don't know where the stock's going, but...
Yeah. Oh, man, what a run. This thing has had only one down month in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One down month, and that was down less than 10 points. Hasn't been down in any month this year, too. So Eli Lilly traded steady. That all-time closing high was made, I believe, yesterday. Despite your number's 914.37. That was your all-time closing high to begin July for Eli Lilly.
All right, it's 8:58. We've got 2 minutes here. I mean, Eli Lilly, it is the valuation here is getting a little expensive, but I mean, if they come in with earnings that show a lot of growth, and those numbers will come down. But 66 forward PE and a 23 price to sales. I mean, that's pretty pricey. But again, we know how much demand and growth is out there, at least regarding the weight loss drugs. Not to mention all the other things in Eli Lilly's pipeline. All right, we've got a minute left. Let's see if we've got.
Remember, we close early, folks. 1 o'clock close. Joel and I will be on the closing print at 12:30. To taking you into the close here. This is gonna be a weird day. You're gonna see a lot of rotation. You're gonna see a lot of stocks open green, and you'll be like, "Holy, this isn't that bad of a day. My portfolio is doing pretty good." If you're in mega cap tech, you're probably not liking today. If you're in everything else, you're probably gonna love today.
Just looking up here, you have the new all-time high made this morning at 72.25, so a little 10-point rally, but I think you're going to need some of the big boys here all to step up. Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, Google, Amazon, all trading in the red. And then on the downside, I mean, the pre-market low, which we seem to be bid above here as we speak, that was your former all-time closing high, so limited support if in fact we do take that out. Not much for data. Well, ISM services comes out at 10 a.m. and factory orders come out at 10 a.m. as well. So that's a wrap for the rest of the day. We'll have some fun at actually starting at 12:15. Triple D will be on at 12:30. And on Monday, or not Monday, on Friday, I have Gordon Johnson's scheduled. I'm going to be full disclosure.
I have to go against Gordon Johnson. I'm actually very scared. Nobody, you go against. I remember who was it? I was on CNBC and somebody was arguing against Gordon. They were introducing the segment. I was like, that guy's dead, man. Even if he's right, he's dead because you can't beat Gordon in an argument. So I have very little chance of beating Gordon, even though I may end up being right with Tesla. That guy can argue with the best of them.
You come back.
He's such a good. He should have been a lawyer, man. That guy can argue with the best of them. Gordo, we love you.
All right, well, that will do it for us today, 9 a.m. Eastern. We will see you guys on Friday, a couple days away. Hope everyone enjoys a nice holiday tomorrow. Happy 4th of July. Stay safe. Have some fun. No drinking and driving. Be safe with the fireworks. That's all I got to say.
Taxis.
Don't do something I wouldn't do. Which still gives you a lot of things you can do, but you can't cross the line. All right, guys, we'll see you on Friday. Smash the like. We do have live trading starting up right now.